Nee, dat geeft niet.
Oké, nu zou het juist moeten zijn.
Okay.
All right, so welcome in this episode of the Money Girl Club. And this is the beginning of season 2, and I'm coming in with something new here. So this is the first for the Money Girl Club. I am having a guest over. I'm really excited about that because I want you to connect with how I do things, and I want you to learn from other people as well. So that is why I am interviewing guests. And today I'm welcoming Jacinta on the show. So I'm very happy to have you here, Jacinta. And can you tell me something about yourself? What's your name and what do you do?
Okay, so I'm Jacinta Simons, or Simons. It sounds more international. I'm half Dutch, half Belgian, but I live in Spain at the moment. I'm a personal brand photographer, really enthusiastic one, and an online brand expert, which means I help women to build their own strong personal brands. I do that, of course, with badass brand photos, but also with a badass brand design, which means like logo, brand colors, Instagram feed, website, that everything fits together and that you can attract the clients you want and push away the clients you don't want. That's the idea. And my bigger vision is actually to really empower women to go for their wildest dreams and also to be confident to do that, because I really feel, especially we women, we play it too small, and we can achieve so much more if we just believe a bit more in ourselves and have a bit more confidence. So that's my mission, and I'm super happy to be here today. Thank you for the invitation, Valerie. And yeah, let's talk about money.
Yes, exactly. I love that you say that you want to push away people you don't have a connection with, and you want to attract the people you do have a connection with. I think that's really, really important nowadays. So yeah, I was really triggered, by the way, by the little sentence in your bio that you're not for everyone. Putting in the boundaries. I love that.
Yeah, so that's the thing, I'm really happy that you noticed that. That's the thing what you really want to do with your brand, with your personal brand. You really want to push people away that are not for you, and you want to attract the people that do belong to you. So you got triggered by that sentence, like, I'm not for everyone, and that's also how I feel about it. So you belong to my tribe, to say it in that way, and other people would think like, oh my God, what is she writing here? So they will not. So that's actually what you want to do. You want to be a magnet for the people that, that match your energy, that match your vibes. And yeah, that's also what I do with the branding, as I said. So I'm really happy that you noticed that, and yeah.
Yeah, really cool. And so I noticed that you live in Spain. You told me that, and I saw that on your Instagram. And before we go into why that is, I heard you mention before that freedom is really important for you, and that you want to empower women to do more with their lives. So has moving to Spain something to do with that freedom feeling?
Yeah, I think of course it's very important. It changed a lot of things for me. Moving to Spain gave me a bigger perspective on my life and on the things I need to do. And my village, I was kept small by the people there, by the village itself. And here I live in a city. I meet different people, and also in the beginning, because of course I arrived alone. I was only by myself, so I didn't have these people. It can be your parents or it can be your friends who say, "Oh no, this is crazy. This is." I just did the things I wanted to do, and maybe they were crazy sometimes, but it helped me expand, And I met also the right people here, and also when I was traveling, who didn't look at me when I say something. In the village they would call it crazy, or they would say I'm a dreamer, and here they would say like, "Oh wow, that's amazing, you should do it." And yeah, of course, or they start thinking with me how I could achieve it, and it was such a different vibe. And I really believe that moving abroad expanded, of course, my myself, but also my business, and it gave me so much opportunities already. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I can really imagine that. I myself grew up in a small town as well, with very conservative, very loving network, but very conservative. And
Yeah.
I had big dreams, and they weren't always welcomed. So I traveled on my own for 4 months, which was quite a shock for my parents. I went to Australia, like
Oh.
the furthest you can get from Belgium. That was probably it. And then I traveled with my now husband for a year. So yeah, I get exactly what you're saying there.
That is so funny, yeah, because we don't know each other, Valerie, but you see that we have a lot of things in common, and I really love that because also most of my clients or the people I get in contact with or other female entrepreneurs, we all have this, thing that we want to do things different. We love to travel, and that is what connects, and I really like that because I can talk about this also for hours, but it brings me
Yes,
back to the personal branding because personal branding is really connecting with your clients actually in different ways. So yeah, also
exactly.
so that you say that. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, so I think for me, the moment that I began traveling, I saw what the possibilities were freedom wise, but I also realized I would need money to do that. What's your opinion about that? Let's maybe start by asking, I'm going to start by asking you, what is your mindset about money? Do you feel negatively or positively towards money?
That is a very good one, actually, because I don't know sometimes. Really, I think I feel very positive about money, but sometimes I also feel that how do you say that it's not always true, that I have thoughts in my head that say the contradiction. Yeah, how do you
The
say that?
opposite, yeah.
Yes, or the opposite. And about the travel parts, when I hear you say that, like you need money to travel, I would disagree because that is already a limiting belief, right? Because it's like I need money, so I cannot go before I have money. But there are 100,000 different ways to travel. It's like it's what you want, of course. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. It's which kind of travel do you want? But for example, I traveled also through South America. I worked sometimes in a hostel to save money, so I could, only had to pay. Yeah, for no, I didn't have to pay anything. I only had to pay. I had to work, but I got like the food and the stay for
Yeah.
free, so I didn't spend money at that point. For example, last month I went to Lisbon and I swapped my apartment with another girl. So it didn't cost me money to stay in Lisbon. So there are different ways, but of course, you need a bit of money to, how do you say, to maybe do the things you want to do, but in essentially to travel. And I think it would even be a challenge, but I think you could even do it without money. I
Yeah.
really believe that.
I think it's really interesting that you say that, because the way I think about money, it is, to me, money is a tool, and it is a tool to design the life of your dreams. And nowadays, there is hardly anything that you can do without any money, let's say. Um, and but I do think it's interesting that you dive into the how of traveling, and how can you travel with a low budget or even no budget. And that is already miles ahead of most people, because most people think you have to save up for tens of thousands of euros and then you can book your trip around the world. And you're right there, that's absolutely not true. I did the same. I frequently got asked whether I had won the lottery, or if I
Yeah,
got an inheritance, which is not the case. Then
yeah.
I tend to ask people, are you married? Do you have a car? And most of the times they answer, yes, yes, I do, I have. And that's roughly around the same budget that I use for a year of travel.
Exactly. It's very funny because I think you had a bit the same, but when I was traveling, I got a lot of messages from people like, oh, I wish I could also do it. And, but I don't have the money and this and that. And then I said the same, yeah, sell your car,
Yeah,
sell your clothes. I don't know, go work. If you really believe you need money, okay, go working for 3-4 months to save. If you really want something to happen, you can make it happen. And that is also a mindset, and I think you have it also. But my mindset is, if I want something, I go for it, and
yeah,
I will. for me, traveling is super important. So for me, giving up other things like a car and I don't know, even my house, it's like for me it was worth it. But if you don't want it that bad, you will never go. But you use just excuses to not do it. But then I also believe you don't want it bad enough, because it is possible. If you are creative, it is like what I said before, you have so many ways to travel. So if you really want to make it happen, you can. I really believe in that.
Yes, I think so too. It's a matter of priorities, and if you are not ready to sublet your apartment or to let go of your stuff, then don't. I'm not saying that you should, but it's just a way. And I think that's where the key lies. It's in thinking in possibilities and not in problems.
Exactly.
And your limiting beliefs around money are really, really important to tackle first before you can even start to think about getting more money.
Exactly. So yeah, what I say, like you need money to travel, it's bullshit actually, because it is not true. What I say, it depends on how you want to travel. I think it's the same for you. But when I was traveling for a year, I slept in dorms, right? I slept in dorms with people, 14 people, 10 people. I know a lot of my friends in Belgium would never ever do that, but for me, it was worth it to see the world. So I was not staying in 5-star hotels a year long. It's a different way of traveling.
I think that's really important, that people realize that us going traveling long term is not the same thing as taking a holiday for 2 weeks. It's a completely different thing. Us too, we slept in a dorm in Cambodia for €2 a night, and it was a crappy bed, I can tell you that. No surprises there, but we still went to Cambodia.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I mean. And that is for you at that point, it's not important. Of course, I think there is a minimum of comfort that you need to have. Like for me, that's a bed to sleep in, a shower, and a toilet. That's what I need. But that part is less important than seeing things. Like the experience, like of traveling, is way more important to me than sleep in a 5-star hotel. Because that is not experience for me. And don't get me wrong, I also love to do that sometimes. But it's my goal for the long-term travel was to see as much as possible of the world, and that was the goal. So yeah, it's also what I said before, which holidays or travel do you want, and what is important for you.
Yes, exactly. For the record, I just want to state that this is my priority and obviously yours as well. But if your option is, or your preference is to stay in 5-star hotels, I am not judging whatsoever.
No,
I love them.
I love them too, but it's not sustainable. No one can do that for a year, right? If you travel maybe some people can. Some people can, of course, but I mean, me at that point, I couldn't. So I was like, it was on a budget a bit. Yeah,
I couldn't either. But it made me pivot in the way I think about money, and I was like, okay, I don't want to live like this for the rest of my life, to save up and then think about, okay, I want to go traveling for several months. How am I going to pay for that? Am I going to work? I want to build more freedom into my life. And money provides that, not directly, but money can provide freedom by buying you the stuff that you like. And that is something that I would like to, I don't know, bring into the open, because I think we still have a lot of limiting beliefs about money. And a lot of those stem from our childhoods and school education. And I was wondering how that was for you back at home when you were a child. Did your parents teach you anything about finance or money management?
No, it's really bad actually, because I don't know. It's very funny also, because we are 3 children at home, and my parents, I think, how do you say, they were like mid class, so we had money, but we were not rich, So it was also not like, oh, we could do whatever we wanted. But the funny thing is, like, I think with my brother and my sister, I'm the worst with money, right? I'm a person, YOLO, like if I spend money, I don't care, It's like I give out money very easily. I don't like to restrict myself.
Yeah.
While on the other hand, my brother, he was, since he was young, very into finances, and he always saved money, and he was always also, which also means he has money wise more money than me. It's like, because he was working on that all his life, but we also have a very different mindset on it. It's very funny because we come out of the same family. So I think, yes, there are beliefs, of course, of your parents that you adapt to, and where you grew up to, or your family. I think you adapt to it, but it's also part of your. Some things are also part of your personality. I think I'm a very creative, free person. I really, of course, I need money too, but it's like, how do you say? I don't add so much value on it as my brother. You know what I mean? Like, my brother could easily say, no, I don't have money for that now. Or I don't have the budget, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. I'm someone what I say, like, yeah, no, we only live once. Okay, just do it. I don't want to limit myself. And so that is funny. A funny thing for me about the money mindset is that I grew up, my parents and actually my family, they always told me, you cannot make money with a creative profession.
That sounds really
And that
Belgian.
was always in my head. So when I left school and I was trying to find a job, I struggled. I struggled, and it was hard for me. And it's only since a few years that I realized, like, what the hell? You can make money with a creative profession. And I feel I'm still fighting sometimes against this limiting belief, actually, of my parents and my family, which I hated, because I'm like, I actually don't believe it, but it was so pushed into my brain that sometimes when I'm tired or something like that, it still comes up. And I really don't believe it, but yeah, it's like, it comes up sometimes, and I know it's not true because I'm seeing the other side, right? I'm making my money with being a creative, being a photographer, and I'm not saying that it's always easy or things like that. I always also have ups and downs, like every business, but it is possible, and you can make a lot of money with it also if you want to. So
definitely.
yeah,
yes, but I think that is something very Belgian that I hear. Very conservative, and they're like, go to school, and it's all with the best intentions, but yeah, it limits us in the end, because you're supposed to go to school, get a good degree, and build a nice career, a nice stable career. Don't take too much risks, like being independent and having your own business. That's like, ooh, isn't that too risky? And yeah, I totally get what you mean with that. But it definitely is possible. But it's a good thing that you're aware of those limiting beliefs, and that you can work on it, because it's not as easy to just ditch them overnight. No, it's not possible. It's ingrained.
No, because you grew up with your parents, right? It's and your family. So it's from when you are very young till you leave the house, and then even after, So it's like, it's really hard to something that is so conditioned in your brain. It's super hard to fight against that, right? And that's why I find it so interesting that I still sometimes have these thoughts, although I know they're not true. I still sometimes have them. So it's like, whoa. And what you say, I notice them, so I can redirect them. But also, a lot of people are not aware of it, right? They're not aware of their money mindset, or which thoughts of other people are in their heads. Because at the end, what is limiting you most of the time are not your own beliefs, it are the beliefs of other people. It are their fears, their limiting beliefs. And it's so sad, because that is what keeps you small, right? And that's also what I realized in the village. It was actually not me who, I kept myself small because I kept living there, but it's actually the people around me, that their beliefs, their fears, they projected on me, and that's why I was a bit like not finding my way also. So, and I don't want to blame anyone, it's not about that, but I see that now because I have a distance from it, right? I have a distance from it. I built a life, another life actually, and I designed it myself. And I'm surrounded now with people who have good money mindsets, who think very different about money, who are also entrepreneurs, because that's also a different thing. if you have a friend and she is working for a company and you have your business, I don't say they cannot give you advice, but it's a different kind of advice because they don't know what it is like to run a company.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
sometimes you also have to be careful whose advice you take. Also about money. Should I make this investment? Should I not? It's also, yeah, different people have different opinions, but at the end you have to look at yourself and really believe in yourself. Like, okay, I can make this decision. I know myself well enough what I need to do in this situation, I think.
I love that you said that your network around you, the people around you, are really important, and how they can leave an impact on you.
Yeah.
Because that's true. Often it's not intentionally, but most of us tend to have, we have our own beliefs and we like to put them on others because we are insecure about something. So we don't want to see someone else succeed in the thing we are afraid of. So,
Yes.
and I don't think that's intentionally. It's kind of a way to protect yourself, but it's important that you as an individual recognize that behavior and that you can grow from there. And I think that's a tip I always like to give to clients and to my friends and family. If you have trouble believing in something that you maybe think you can't do it, maybe look for an example in someone who did it, who did achieve it. So in your case, a photographer who is really, and brand expert who is really successful, go follow
Yeah.
them. And that really, really helps in establishing that belief in your head and that trust.
Exactly. I remember, to come back to the traveling, but I remember that I think Instagram was just coming up, right? And then I saw all these pictures of women traveling all over the world. And I was always jealous, jealous, but in
Mm-hmm.
a good, not like, but jealous in a way that was like, oh, I also want this. And,
Yes.
like I always had this feeling, I want this. And at one point, I just realized, but yeah, Jacinta, then go do it, go do it. And if they can do it, you can also do it. So, but it's finding a way to do so. And exactly what you say, like you have to look for examples that it's possible. I remember I wanted to travel. Then I started following a woman who was a digital nomad at the time. And she would go there and there. And, it was very interesting to see that because for me, in the village, everyone was just like staying there and not traveling or not doing anything. So to have examples like people doing different things and the things you want to do, it gives you also this confidence, like if they can do it, there's probably a good shot that I can also do it.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Then you get more motivated, it's really nice to see that.
If you can see that it's possible, you will start to believe it yourself, that it's possible and within reach for you too as well.
Exactly.
So I think there's a lot of bashing on Instagram and social media nowadays, and partly I do stand behind that. But I think that's a really good element of Instagram and other social media, is it's giving us that window to look into the world and to see what others are doing, and instead of being envious, be inspired by it, because you can really get inspired by people around you.
That's the thing, like I read it somewhere or I saw it somewhere, but the feeling I said about jealous, I'm never really jealous, but this feeling that you have, like, oh, I would also want that. It's a really good indicator actually of what you really want in your life.
Yes.
If you see on Instagram people traveling and you get this feeling like, oh, then like, okay, I need to go that direction. If you see someone having a baby or having children and you have that, it's a good indicator of which way you want to go. And if you have that feeling, I would also invite you to then do something about it, because it means that, yeah, it triggers something in you and you really want that. And I also want to give a side note, of course, for Instagram, because we also know nowadays, everything on Instagram that is put out there, a lot of times it's also kind of, it's not reality, right? So also keep in mind, like, the behind the scenes. What I say, like, when I was traveling, I was not photographing my dorm where I was sleeping in, I was photographing the things I was seeing.
Absolutely.
It's only 1%. And the behind the scenes people didn't really know about. So it could be that I was maybe sleeping in a, but that's what people make up in their minds. But also keep in mind, like, it's never really reality, and it's only 1% of the reality, right?
Yes.
So I think that's also important to understand.
Yeah, definitely. You should definitely realize that. And I try to lead by example by almost never, by always showing the bad sides as well. And I think that's important that we all do that. But of course, it's more fun to show the nice things. So it's something that
Yeah,
we have
I
to keep in
also
mind.
I struggled with that a bit in the beginning because I came on Instagram, and when I was traveling, of course, everything, like, for me everything was amazing, right? Because I was traveling, and then I started my business again, and then I started with Instagram also more to connect with my clients, and I was starting to realize, like, actually I'm only posting when things are good, and I try to also be how do you say, be honest about that. For example, for me it's also a working point, because actually I think it's maybe something also human, like, you don't really want
Yes.
to show when things are not so great, or when something goes wrong. But then I realized the women I really admire, or the people I follow, they also sometimes share when things are not going well, and it makes me also admire them actually more, because then I see, like, oh yeah, okay, they're also normal people, and they also sometimes struggle. And so what you say, also I try to also do that more. On the other hand, I try to find a balance, because for me my brand is about positivity, so I don't want to share every time so I want to
No.
give it I think you should always share the, how do they say it, like, the lesson, but not the drama. It's like,
That's a good one.
share if something goes wrong, but don't go in the moment, like, hysterical, and, like, you don't want to post that on Instagram, and it's also not necessary. But you can then say that next day or 2 days later, like, hey, this happened to me. It sucks, but I
Yeah.
learned this from it. So then you give actually a positive um, swing also to it, and you're, like, being also vulnerable, but also sharing when it's not going that
Yes.
well. I think that's important.
I really agree with that, because people turn to me for help with money and investing, and I want to be a good example, but I struggle from time to time as well. I'm only human, and life happens, and I don't have any financial issues anymore. I had them in the past, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because I had financial problems that I am a good at helping others, because I know how it feels. I know what you are going through, and I know how you think about the future, and maybe the things you can and cannot do. So I've been there, and I think by sharing that, I can help people even better.
Exactly. That's what makes you the best. If you're never there, you can never also understand what someone is going through. And it's so important that also the clients you work with, or people even, that they feel, recognition, and also what you say, that you are human, right? It's not because you're in finance and that is your thing, that you don't make mistakes. It's impossible,
Hmm.
it's impossible. And I think we have to be also more honest and vulnerable about that, and which is not easy. I think it's not
Especially
easy.
about money.
Yeah, especially also about money, because there's also a big taboo also sometimes about it,
Yeah.
right? Like, I
If
don't
you
know.
admit that you don't have enough money, then society looks at you like you have failed, which is not the case.
And it's
Everyone
funny
struggles.
because, yeah, tell me.
Because let me tell you, I have my business, but I still work part time, and I work at a bank. And I can see drama happening every single day. And I think it's a tragedy that we don't have more education about finance, because so many people are in trouble. But those same people are pretending everything is fine, so they don't have to deal with the judgment of society. And I think that's so sad. We don't deserve that. We deserve better than that.
It's true, and I also believe it's a bit Belgian culture, Western culture, because I felt it a lot in Belgium. Like there was always this pressure of, like earning money, working, having a house, having a car, having everything together. That also a lot of our value of who we are, we put on these things, right? We put on the things like of having money, of having a house, of having a car. And I actually detached a bit from that. So I know even if I don't have money, I still feel worthy and I'm still allowed to be, it's like it's having money does not define my worth. And I think if you can disconnect from that and detach from that, it gives you so much freedom. And I can tell you, like, in Belgium, I was living in this really big house, it was like luxury, everything. We had this amazing shower, and it was like, wow. And then I moved to Valencia. What maybe also a lot of people don't know is that I was living in the beginning. So I came from this big house. Then I went traveling. I slept in dorms with 14 people. And then I came to Valencia and I shared an apartment, right? And I was standing in this small, small shower. Like I could barely move myself. And I was standing in the shower and taking a shower, and I closed my eyes and I thought, like, I don't have money or not a lot of money, but I'm so happy. And how do you say, like, I don't know how to say it. I think the more you can detach from having money and also viewing people, like, we also have that in the Western world, someone who's driving a big car and has a good job. And we feel that they are, more than us,
more
which is
successful.
not true. It's not true. It's like who you are inside and what you have to offer the world. And I don't know. I find that also gave me a lot of freedom, like to detach myself from money and status, because at the end it has nothing to do with me, like nothing, And I think if more people would have that, we would also live in a different world. I think. Like,
I think so too. I think I do believe that money is important. It's the way it is in this world, but I think a healthy mindset towards it is crucial. I would go as far as stating that once you get over that mindset that money represents power and success, and that you, like you said, detach from it, then it will be even easier to get money because you are not desperately chasing it constantly to prove something to the world. And you need to have a healthy attitude towards it. I think that's the key in everything. I know many people who have a big mansion and 2 cars and seem successful, but are actually in debt.
Yeah, and also, what is success for you? It can be different things for different people. I sometimes hear people, oh, if I have this amount on my bank account, then I will be happy. Then I will be. But that's not the thing. Also, I also agree with you. You need money. I don't want to say like everyone needs money, whatever. But it doesn't mean if you achieve that thing in your head that you're happy. If I can compare it with my own life, like in Belgium, I had everything I wanted. Everything I had. A house, a car, I had a good income, I could do whatever I wanted. I had this money freedom thing, I had it, but I was so unhappy with my life that I think, like, what is the point then? What is the point of having this money? And then also the traveling opened my eyes. Like, I traveled to South America, I saw poor people, I saw a lot of things, but they lived more by their heart. And I think we live by our head, and I think it's a combination. It's important, but only living by your head, only chasing the money, I don't believe in that.
No.
Maybe I'm a bit too spiritual for that, but I saw things there, like they think that we, have it all together in Europe. We have it all together, but when I was there, I was thinking, you know what? They have it.
It's
together.
Actually you, yeah.
They are so warm. They live by nature. They live for the creativity. They don't. What I say, they don't have a lot of money, but they are so warm and they share. And even we are so rich in Belgium. That's also what I realized. And we are so super rich, but we want to keep everything for ourselves. And it's like, we get, we don't give. And I don't believe that is what makes us happy. I really don't believe that. It's, it's not.
I do think the definition of success is to reach whatever makes you happy and not what is in your bank account. And
Exactly.
if whatever makes you happy costs more money, then you will need more money. And if whatever makes you happy is cheap, then it's cheap, and everything is fine. I think
Yeah.
that's the way to go.
Yeah. Nice how you said that.
Yeah. So what I also do is I help people with investing, and I wanted to ask you, because that seems to be a tricky issue with a lot of people, a lot of women, especially, sadly, in Belgium. Are you investing? Have you ever invested, or are you planning to?
So there's a thingy. My brother was here the last 6 months, more or less, and what I said, he's into money, and he said to me, Jacinta, it's time you start to invest. It's time you get your finances serious and that you do it. I never invested. I tried to, I looked at some things, blah blah blah, but I think I want to invest at one point in real estate, because that's more my thing. I don't want to go into crypto because it's like it doesn't appeal to me. So I think it's important when you invest. Hear me say, I don't know, but like if you invest, I think it's important for me at least to invest in something that fits with me.
Absolutely.
So that's actually what I want to do, and I will also get the help of my brother to invest in how do you say it in English? Is it stocks like aandelen?
Yeah, the stock market.
Yes. He knows a lot about that. So I want to get a bit more serious about that, and also what is important for me, like what I said before, the freedom. And if I can, do that, it would give me maybe a bit more security for the future. But also, I'm trying to focus now with my business, the money that comes in, but also some passive income. So I want to have different money flows.
Yes.
One for the future, one security, one more passive, one active, so that it's more a complete circle, and not only the traditional way of earning money and spending money and things like that. So I'm thinking about that now, right? I didn't start yet, but it's now in my head. Well, before it was not. Before, I think the last 5 years, money was the last thing on my mind. I was like, oh my God, I chased the money like for 30 years, and now I just want to have freedom. I want to do whatever I want. I don't want to think about money even. I don't want to think about it. I just want to do what I want. And that's what I did the last years. And now I feel like, okay, I want to get a bit more serious and also be a bit more of control of that again now. I want to have the balance. Yeah.
And I guess that the thing holding you back, apart from the mindset, was the fact that you don't really know that much about it.
Actually, also, yeah, I didn't know much about it. I still don't. I still don't actually. So for me, it's a bit Chinese, everything. I do understand, you invest and you want to get more money, blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's Chinese. And because also, it doesn't interest me that much, For my brother, it's something, it's interest, he likes it. And I have that with photography and traveling, but not with finances or money, right? But I know I should do it, and I will do it. And if I don't know how to do it, I will get help for it. That's what you do, right? If I'm not the best in that, but I can have people who help me, and I'm sure it will be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that if you, I don't know, if you feel sick, you go to the doctor. If your hair is looking like shit, you go to the hairdresser. And I think if you need help with doing anything in life, you just ask someone to help you with that. And I think investing is definitely something that especially our generation will need to build that security. But I think it's a very good thing that you said that. You need to find something that suits you, because there are a lot of ways of investing, and I'm happy that you said that. I won't convince you. I just think it's really interesting.
I know it.
Yeah,
I know.
I always love asking people that, just to make them aware that there is more than just the stock market, and it can actually be really interesting if you find that one thing that suits you. Okay, so then we're getting near 1 hour already. So
Oh wow, time goes so fast.
Yeah, exactly. I could keep talking about this for hours, especially when it's involving travel. But I'm going to wrap this discussion and this interview up. I just have one more question that I will ask you, that I'm going to ask everyone who comes on the podcast here. And I'm going to ask you to answer it shortly. So just say whatever comes to mind. Imagine that you win the lottery tomorrow and you win like millions, like you never have to work again. What is the first thing you do?
Travel.
Travel.
No, it's no, travel and buying property and make a plan to earn more money with it and also help more people with it. Like
Okay.
I would expand my mission of empowering women. I met a girl in Colombia, for example, who never went to the beach, a single mom. I would give back to the world, but also make sure I make more money to help more people and to how do you say? I really believe sometimes the money is not in the wrong hands, but more good people need to earn more money because
Yes.
we have to have more power in that way, because I really would believe we can be a good change for the world, or we can help it instead of ruin it, yeah.
Oh my God, yes, definitely. I think that's a nice quote to end this interview on. I always say money is not bad or good. Money is a tool, and bad people with a lot of money do a lot of bad things, but good people with money do a lot of good things. So
Yes, exactly.
I think we can agree on that.
Yes.
Okay, so it was lovely talking to you. It was very nice to have you here on the show. And I hope that everyone enjoyed, everyone that is listening. And yeah, I would say let's stay in touch. And I wish you lots of fun in Spain. And yeah, maybe we'll talk soon again.
Thank you so much, Valerie. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I really liked the conversation. Like, it was about money, but not only, talking about that, also travel. And yeah, I really enjoyed. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Oké, voilà, dan ga ik hem hier zoiets even knippen zo en dan kan ik dat als audio gebruiken.
Oh, het was echt superleuk. Ik heb er echt van genoten.
Ja, ik vond het ook echt een heel leuk gesprek. Ik denk zeker dat dat bij veel mensen wel gaat... dat veel mensen zich erin gaan herkennen.
Ja. Mag ik nog eventjes een story maken voor mijn Instagram? Want dat doe ik dan altijd.
Ja, dat ga ik ook doen.
Wow. Heb ik jou op Instagram eigenlijk? Volgens mij hier. Wat is jouw Instagram?
Wacht hoor. This Money Girl.
Money Girl?
This Money Girl.
This Money Girl.
Ja.
This Money. Ah, leuk. Ik heb helemaal niet gezien dat jij mij volgt. Even kijken, dan ga ik even een storytje maken. Oké, ik heb net met Valerie een podcast opgenomen over money, money, money. I'm talking in Dutch, but we actually did a podcast in English. And I always ask this to the women that invite me for the podcast. When is it going to get online?
I haven't actually decided, but it's not going to take long. So either it's going to be next week or in 3 weeks. But I will let you know.
Super fast. That's super fast already. Just go follow This Money Girl to see when it gets online, and then you can hear us talk about money and also a bit about traveling. It was a really interesting and fun conversation. Thank you for inviting me, Papi.
You're welcome.
It's long, but ik zal het editen.
Ja.
Alleen maar stukjes, want anders gaan we denken. Ik maak tegenwoordig allemaal lange stories.
Ja, die zijn ook langer.
Nee, ik vond het super leuk, Valerie. Dus ja, heel erg bedankt.
Ja, ik vond het ook heel tof. Bedankt om hier te zijn. Ik ga er veel aan hebben. Ik maak er trouwens ook altijd een blogpost van. Hè.
Dus tof.
Ik ga even kijken hoe ik dat nu doe. Want ik heb het nog nooit met een interview gedaan. Maar er gaat wel iets van op mijn website ook komen. En dan zal ik u er ook iets van laten weten. En dan,
Ja, zo met mij ook dan, als je de video, en ik ga het dan ook op zoveel mogelijk plaatsen delen. En het is voor ons allebei sowieso, het is een leuk gesprek, maar het is ook promo op verschillende manieren, dus dat is ook altijd leuk. En doe je ook linkjes bij jouw podcast zetten? Want bij de vorige moest dan ook mijn Instagram en de e-book dat ze kunnen downloaden. Die dingen zet je er ook bij? Of,
ja, die zet ik er meestal wel bij.
Oké, dus dan zal ik en een foto moet je dat ook hebben?
Voor bij het blogartikel? Of?
Ja, blog of ook bij de podcast, want dan moest ik bij de vorige ook doorsturen. Een foto en dan de linkjes waar ik ze eigenlijk naartoe wil linken.
Wel ja, je mocht die doorsturen en dan zet ik die bij de blog en dan kan ik via de show notes er doorlinken. De podcast komt op Spotify en op Apple Podcasts.
Oké, helemaal goed.
Maar ik zal u iets laten weten van zodra dat die online komt. Hè? Want ik moet nog even zien hoe ik het ga doen met de planning.
Ja, maar doe maar. Er is geen haast bij, maar ik ben zelf al nieuwsgierig wanneer het online gaat komen.
Oké, nee, top. Ik laat u iets weten. Merci om hier te zijn. Ik vond het heel tof.
Hartelijk bedankt. En we blijven geconnecteerd sowieso op Instagram. Ja. En ik zal je ook even toevoegen op LinkedIn en zo dan.
Ja, dat is goed. En succes met de volgende podcast nog, hè.
Dankjewel. Jij ook, hè.
Merci.
Doei.
Doei. All right, so welcome in this episode of the Money Girl Club